I am speaking to you today, not as a Democrat or a Republican, but as a God-fearing, freedom-loving patriot, a citizen of this great American land that God gave our forefathers who made a covenant with God to keep her and protect her with our promise to forever give glory to the ruler of this nation. I have spent the last 40 years of my life looking for my purpose, questioning why I was created, knowing it had to be more than just to be a daughter, wife, and mother. While I love and enjoy being all of those things, I always felt there was something much greater and bigger that laid ahead that I would be called to do. Since my youth, I have always looked at this world through a microscope. Many thought I was odd or shy because I was quiet and sat at the outside of every room and just watched. God gifted me with the ability to see this world through a different lens. I never knew until this past 2 years what His path for me to walk would be. While I continue to seek God's direction for my life, I truly feel like my great-aunt many times removed, Joan of Arc, a woman I truly admire because she stood for truth, justice, and fought the fight God called her to fight regardless of the cost. Raging inside of me as a warrior in her own right that wishes to call out the evil within this nation, a nation that fell asleep and turned its back to God, yet claimed it followed Him just because they said some words, a few prayers, and used His name in the Pledge of Allegiance. I remember the very day God revealed this important revelation to me. Everyone standing in unison right before a football game, with hands over their hearts, pledging our allegiance to our flag. I stood back, froze, and said to myself, everyone is standing for a flag, but if people had been asked to stand for God, would they have? The sad realization to that answer was a hard no. I had a hard time standing for the flag after that, and I didn't for a while. I was finally able to do it again after God showed me what those words really meant and brought me to appreciate the covenant our nation established with our Creator. So now I proudly stand and pledge my allegiance to the land God gave me. My heart is grieved, however, for the many people that do not truly understand the importance of knowing what our forefathers did back in 1776, when they entered into that covenant that we made with God, and why it's important and our duty to defend it. There are far too many people in this world that have grown complacent with the leadership of man, that has taken God out of schools, daily work, and government. The government grew too powerful because by nature we want someone to lead us, yet fail to seek that lead from the one that has control over it all. By nature we were created to follow and rest in God, and when we remove that rock from its foundation and turn to the will of man, we faltered. We fall asleep and we waver. Worry, fear, and anxiety become our drug of choice because we choose to follow man and trust in our flesh rather than the one that created the heavens and the earth. I believe 2020 was the beginning of a great awakening. God is removing a veil off America and is giving us the opportunity to get it right or fall again to the desires of our flesh. Oh, but wait, it's not just America, because as we have been seeing in 2022, all nation citizens are rising up. We all may not yet quite understand in fullness what we are learning, but I believe that those that are fighting for their freedoms are being called by God to stand. Our nation is in danger. We need a revival like the world has never seen. The people of this great nation need to restore themselves to God and call to Him for deliverance. There is so much within the government's control that has become corrupted. Those that we have elected to serve the people have forgotten their oaths that they took to God and His people in their powers, we the people, under God's authority granted them to govern. There is no doubt that this was going to happen. History always repeats. We see this throughout all the ages. Every nation fell when they put themselves before God. I make no mistake, America will eventually fall. But will she fall now? Are we in the moment America models itself after Rome and is removed from its place? Or will we turn back to God and save her for a little longer? Only God knows, and only God is in control. That revelation also comes with a warning. To the people of America, you have sat and been the harlot that has allowed the flesh to indulge in its desires. You have murdered children created by God for personal convenience, and your government has sold children into bondage and slavery for sexual pleasure and satanic rituals. You've allowed your schools to raise your children into sin and perversion. You've not instilled in your children the importance of their purity, nor their need for Christ Jesus. You've allowed your churches to preach man-made feel-good religions and made God in your own image, yet God is unchanging and condemns all these things. Those that call themselves children of God and have not yet stood up and called out their churches or their government and turned a blind eye out of fear have yet to learn to lay down their lives as Christ did and stand in truth no matter what the cost. If you are comfortable, you have not laid down your life yet. So, fellow Americans, we all must stand up and carry our crosses. The world's burdens may be heavy, but we created this for ourselves by doing nothing. It's time to stand. This truly is America's last stand. We need to get back to God, take back our children, our churches, our communities, our government. To do this, we need to rise in unity, one nation under God, and take it back. Stop waiting for someone else to save you or praying that someone else will come in and save it. Rather, join forces in unity under God and take back what God gave you. With God with us, who can stand against us? We fight with God's law, which is the law of the land, but doing nothing is no longer an option.